guys, it's Alexis, aka The Soft Reader, and I'm here today to do the anything but books tag. I think this is a fairly new tag that's been kind of going around for a while, so it looked interesting and I was like, oh, maybe that's a good chance for people to get to know me, so I figured, hey, let's go ahead and do it. You'll probably be able to tell throughout this video, but I am getting a little sick at the time of filming this, so I probably will be coughing a lot, so I'm going to try to edit all that out. The first question is to name a cartoon that you love. I kind of have a couple of answers for this. If you're kind of going with cartoons that have, like, I watched as a kid that I still love as an adult, like, me as an adult, I still can go back and watch them and still get enjoyment out of them, definitely it's going to be Avatar: The Last Airbender and Teen Titans. If you're looking at me now as an adult, like an animated series I've recently gotten into that I absolutely love, it's Netflix's Voltron Legendary Defender. I love it so much. I didn't watch the original Voltron back when it came out in the 80s, but I absolutely am adoring the new Netflix series. And I think that the team who works on it is really fantastic, and the animations are really, really pretty. And yeah, so that's kind of the answer I would give, is just like Voltron for like where I am now in my life, but as like a things that I can still watch now and get enjoyment out of, it's going to be Avatar: The Last Airbender. I can watch it time over and over and over again and I still enjoy it, and Teen Titans because I'm Teen Titan trash. So the next one is to list a current favorite song. Surprisingly, I really haven't been listening to music much lately, just because I just haven't. Most of the time I was listening to music was when I was in school and I was doing homework and stuff, and now that I'm out of school, I just don't really have moments where I'm sitting down to listen to music. So that being said, I'm just gonna go with my favorite song by my favorite band, which is Here I Dreamt I Was an Architect by the Decemberists. And let me see if I can get my phone, and I will actually play you guys a bit of it. Alright, and I'm going to definitely make sure that that's under, I think, what is it, like 15 seconds to avoid YouTube copyright infringement. But yeah, so Here I Dreamt I Was an Architect is my favorite song by the Decemberists, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it's my favorite song at the moment. The next question is to name something that you can do for hours aside from reading, and for me that is going to be like watching video game streams. Like, I pretty much spend all of the time I'm not reading typically watching either video game Let's Plays or video game streams. And that's just because I love video games so much. On YouTube, I'm a huge fan of the Game Grumps. I love the Game Grumps so much. I have rewatched their Bloodborne playthrough probably 4 or 5 times. It's so much fun for me. I love it. I'm also a huge fan of Jacksepticeye, which is interesting because I wasn't for a long time, and now, like, I absolutely adore his videos so much. They always cheer me up. On Twitch, my favorite Twitch streamer is Ammunition. She is just like an absolute idol to me. Like, every time she opens her mouth, I'm just awed by how, like, perfect of a human being she appears to be. So yeah, those are, I mean, that's pretty much what I spend all of my free time doing when I'm not reading, is usually watching video game streams or video game Let's Plays. Your next one is to name a favorite specific thing that you like to learn about. And these questions aren't word for word because I wrote them down in my little journal, and to save lines I had to like cut some of them short. So these aren't word for word, the questions, which I apologize, but I will leave the original video down below so that will obviously have the actual original questions all listed. When it comes to my favorite specific things to learn about, I don't know, I don't really have, like, I guess I would obviously say that I'm a huge fan of history. I love to learn about history. And my favorite, I guess, time period to learn about is typically World War II, and that's just because I grew up around the World War II Museum in New Orleans. It's where I grew up, so, I mean, I spent a lot of my childhood there, so I can learn a lot of the same stuff about World War II over and over again, and it's still interesting to me. But I genuinely just really love history a lot, so there are a bunch of time periods I really like to learn about. I really like to learn about the rise of cities in the United States, so like the very, very early half of the 20th century. I think Hildy. I think feudal Japan's really interesting. I think a lot of you know, antiquated cultures are really cool. Ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia. I took a class, my second to last semester, my last year in college, which was history of the Spanish-speaking world, and it was conducted in Spanish because it was for my minor. And that was really interesting because I learned a lot about the history of a lot of Latin America that I didn't know about before. So that was really interesting to me, but in general, I just really like to learn about history, and I really wouldn't say that there's an era in history that I'm not interested to not learn about. Kind of any of them if it's like a good class, because I used to not like American history at all, and then I took 2 classes in college. I completed a sequence in American history because it was the only thing left that would fit my schedule, and I ended up, because I had 2 great professors, ended up really loving a lot of the stuff I was learning. So yeah, I mean, just, I don't have a favorite specifically because I just really love history. And then the other thing I wrote down was that my minor was in public health, and I wanted to specifically and I wanted my specialty to be in HIV/AIDS populations. But in general, just public health is very interesting to me. I really enjoy learning information about communicable diseases, epidemiology, non-communicable diseases, and just stuff like that. My public health classes were by far my favorites I took when I was in college. So just anything related to disease behavior, populations and stuff like that is really, really interesting to me. So, and I'm sure that goes along with the fact that ecology is like my favorite brand of biology. So I don't know, that answer ended up being way longer than it needed to be, but there you go. Those are like the 2 things I love to learn about. The next question is to name something unusual that you know how to do. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, like, you're gonna think I'm the most boring person ever, and I am, believe me, but I don't none of that. Like, I don't have anything special that I know how to do. I mean, I kind of know stuff that I feel like most people my age don't really know a lot about, and that's only because, like, I work at a luggage store currently. I sell luggage, so I know an exorbitant amount about luggage brands and, like, travel and, like, packing that I feel like most 22-year-olds don't know. But that's not really something I know how to do. That's just something I've learned because of my job. So yeah, I don't have an answer for this one, I'm sorry, and this is not the only one on this list that I don't have an answer for. So, I don't know why I decided to do this tag, because I don't know anything. The next one is to name something you've made in the last year. Again, I don't have talents, I don't have any skills, so the only thing I could come up with for this is my channel. And my channel's technically been around, I think, for like a year, but I wasn't uploading on it. But in the last year, I really decided that I wanted to do booktube and that I wanted to have a channel. So that's the only answer I really have, is just that, like, in the last year I've really committed to doing this. And so that's the only answer I have for that. I haven't made anything. Sorry. Oh, actually that's not true. In February, and I'll leave a picture too, I did build a Yeti cooler out of Legos for this thing that the mall that I work at was doing. And I totally forgot about that until just now. But I sell Yeti coolers at the store I work at, so we built one for the Lego Americana Roadshow. So I'll leave a picture of that. And I actually built a couple of other Lego things that I'll show you guys, but that's the main one I did, and it took me like 6 hours to do. I haven't played with Lego since I was a kid. But yeah, I mean, there you go. That's another thing I remembered I built, and I technically did build that. The next question is to name a recent personal project. Guys, I don't have one. Like, I mean, like, kind of the only project I'm really dedicating myself to at the moment is, you know, running a channel and, you know, trying to do the best job that I can do, that I feel like I can do. Aside from that, and I actually do have a video that I'm going to film about this probably in a couple of weeks, but I am moving at the end of April, so it's still like a month away, but I'm actually moving back to the town where my parents live, where I'm not from originally, but where I lived for 10 years, kind of while I'm in the process of looking for a more permanent career. So I'm moving, but I'm also kind of in the process of job hunting, so I guess that would be my most recent personal project, but I don't really feel like that's unique to me because I feel like a lot of people who are my age are also doing very similar things, but yeah, that's kind of the only thing I have. The next one is to name something you think about often, and this is another one where the only thing I really spend my time thinking about, like I daydream a lot too, especially like at work, and it's just that I have a lot of story ideas in my head. I know that that's not an uncommon thing. I know a bunch of people on BookTube all want to be writers, and I'm sure that we'll all do great at it, but you know, that's something for me that I've wanted to do since I was a kid, is be a published author. Technically I'm a published poet because I have had some poems printed. They're not good though because they were written when I was a kid. But so I have just so many story ideas in my head, and I kind of just spend all my time thinking about those and trying to think of a way to fully complete a project that I've been working on. But yeah, I mean, that's really the only thing that is ever really going on in my head, ever. Or because of my anxiety, I have crazy moments where I'm dreaming about situations that are never going to happen and me trying to figure out how I'm going to deal with them. The next one is to name a very specific favorite. So like example is like a very specific food that you like to eat while you've been studying for hours. And this is the one that I don't have an answer for this. I don't have a very specific favorite that I can think of that kind of applies to that. I mean, I have favorites, I guess, in like every category, but I don't have anything that's like that. I mean, like when I go on car trips, I always get Starbucks, but my order changes depending on how I'm feeling, depending on what I want, depending on the season, the weather, depending on what's new. So I don't really have an answer to that. I don't have a specific anything. I mean, I don't even have like a specific like Chipotle order because sometimes I go in and order something completely different every time. So I just don't have an answer for this one. I have no clue. No idea. And the last question is to just name the first thing that comes to your mind, and the thing that's kind of always in the back of my head while I'm filming is my cats, because usually they always want to come and play with my equipment. So I will go ahead and grab them and introduce them to you. So this is Jaeger. He is my, he'll be 2 in May, and he is my all black domestic short hair. I've had him, it'll be 2 years in July that I've had him. So pretty much his entire life. I love him. He's my baby boy. And he's a gem. I'm surprised he's letting me hold him this long. He usually doesn't. I'm gonna go get your sister. And this is my, she'll be a year in May, but this is my calico Hildy. Her full name's Brunhilde. Originally we were going to call her Hilda, but it just kind of developed into calling her Hildy. Not sure how that happened. That wasn't my original plan, but that's what we call her now. But her full name's Brunhilde. And yeah, I've had her since August. So coming up on having her a whole year. Say hi. But yeah, so my cats. I'm like a total cat lady. Like, I love my cats. I spend most of my time just hanging out with my cats. So yeah, I know that I think I've shown them a little bit on my channel, but not like a formal introduction. So there you go, guys. Those are my cats. Alright guys, so that was the anything but books tag. I'm sorry that tag was pretty lame. I'm not a very interesting person, honest. But that's pretty much all I have to say about any of those questions. If you have anything you want to ask me about, or if you want to know more about my cats or anything like that, sure. If you follow me on Snapchat, I literally only show pictures of my cats. That's literally all I do, is pictures of my cats and usually what book I'm reading. So that's a shameless self-promotion. Yeah, so that was the anything but books tag. You guys should let me know down below maybe what's a specific thing that you like to learn about, or maybe a specific favorite that you guys have, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye!